We here. What's up, Cape Town? Welcome to UnCooked with your host, me, Anwar Arendse, where we grill some of the most inspirational, some of the most impactful, resourceful, the movers and the shakers of the industry. People. I'm just going to end it with people. But today, on the grill, no pun intended, as a guy I really admire and look up to. As a father, I would say. The president of the United Independent Movement. I actually wanted to do like a very intriguing introduction, but I'm gonna leave that to you because I want to know more. Yeah. Welcome, Neil.
And well, thank you. I know it's uncooked, but I think by the end of today,
you're gonna be cooked.
We are going to be medium to well.
I love it. Like all meat, besides
Absolutely.
Chicken, of course.
Yes, chef. What a great privilege to, can I say, to be home?
Yeah, of course. Like
this is home.
This is home kitchen.
And it's my first ever kitchen interview. Inshallah. So I'm happy to be inspired and met you the first time a couple of weeks ago and still amazed. Still full of energy. So an absolute honor to be here. I actually couldn't sleep last night.
Me too. Actually, I slept because I believe like sleeping is very important. In December last year, I literally burnt out. I just went upstairs and fell asleep, and I didn't wake up because of complete burnout.
Exhaustion.
But come 2024, right? It's election time.
Yeah.
And me personally, I'm doing my research. I'm conducting myself in a manner using my platform to showcase to the world, come 2024, we need to vote, right? For the right party. And this is a pressing issue that is currently in South Africa that we need to face head on. And this is exactly why Neil is here today. It's because, not because of politics, not because of the United Independent Movement, no. I need to get to know Neil because if he is going to get my vote, I need to know who I'm voting for. But I need to physically feel it.
Sure.
However, growing up, I always had challenges, many challenges actually, as a young man. One of my challenges was actually dyslexia, and that prevented me, I feel, from doing a lot of things, and it actually caused a lot of envy in me also, in my heart, because there was a lot of people that did quite well and excelled in their spaces while we were on school. That was one of my main challenges that I faced. What are some of the challenges you faced growing up as a kid?
Dyslexia.
Oh.
Just because you can't read doesn't mean you can't feel.
Fair enough.
Just because you can't spell doesn't mean you can't live life. So I had the same problem. But what I did was, I substituted the lack of understanding of reading with an unbelievable memory. So when I do speeches and when I speak today, I can do it with absolute ease because I memorize everything and have to. So not being able to take in reading at the speed others could, I had to sit the previous night, read the book 3-4 times to memorize it. And the next day when I had to do a oral or I had to talk, I remembered everything off the cuff and I could speak. And now, today, as a person that has entered public life, it has now in actual fact put me in front of people that could read so well. So you've got to take life's challenge and turn it into diamonds. And that's how you make a diamond. People always talk of your past, Anwar. Your past is of no concern to me. A CV tells you where you were. It doesn't tell me where you're going. So I don't do politics, I do people. And I will never be a politician. I'm an activist. And I'm too much of a people's person. At least stay here. Don't be stiff. Talk here like you talk in the kitchen.
Of course.
talk here like when you talk at a braai.
Yes, chef.
And when you speak there, but you can't speak like that in public. Don't speak at all. So that's why I think I'm different. That's why I grew up differently. I could never see the difference between any human being except a human being. But we made it so. We made that race issue. We divided each other because of politics. So where I come from is where I will go, Anwar. And that is to fight for a country that's colorblind, but that notices your soul. Die waarde wat jy het in jou siel makes you the man or the woman today.
And do you think that challenges that you had growing up as a kid actually molded you into this character who you are today?
Absolutely. My teachers gave me no chance. In actual fact, they said jail, terrorist, or absolute delinquent.
Oh no.
And when you say that to me, I fight even harder. Because you've got to understand life is not easy. But when you take up a challenge, you've got two ways that you can go. You can either go downhill or uphill. But when you've made that decision, bloody stick to it.
Of course.
And move. Be the best that you can. And don't listen to people when they say you cannot. That's why I am who I am. Because people that say you can't are interrupting people that are busy doing it. And they must get out of our way. That's my opinion. Julle hou die traffic op, check. Ons soek jou nie daar nie. You know? And that's life.
Cape Town! If you have any questions, leave it in the comments right now. We'll get to it very, very soon. But do you see, like, do you feel the energy? It was cold here. Right?
It's no warm.
It's no warm.
No, it's good. You know, I always say to people, I love my people. Who's my people? You. Me. So when you look at the people and you go, where? People go, yeah, that's a politician. Yeah, where? But I've phrased a new concept. From aware comes awareness. So I think this country needs more awareness. Because once you become aware about what's going on you can create the system of awareness. So I coin phrases and I tell the people, there's a difference between the past generation and the new generation. You know what that is?
What is it?
Information. Exactly what you are doing right now.
The information is more accessible right now, right?
You're giving awareness. So even a person that sits in his garage, even a person that sits today in ShopRite packing at a till, a mechanic, has got access to awareness. And that's why I've got hope in this country, is we can inform the people. Choice, not politics. And you are right. I don't care who you vote for. But vote, you must next year. Because if you don't, you can't change a country. One day in your life, 8 hours maybe. But some of us are willing to stand queues in tickets when concerts happen for hours. But you can't go stand in a queue to change a country's life.
That needs to change come 2024.
It has to. It's all right.
You know, my wife, my kids, my mom and my dad, I don't actually tell them that much or that often. I really love them, and I feel like the world doesn't really need to know that because I keep them as my sacred. You know, they mean the world to me, and they're the people that motivates me, you know, to keep going.
Sure.
What does family mean to you?
Everything. Everything and anything. They say charity starts at home. In life, we think that if you give, you must receive. That's where you make a mistake. If you're going to give everything. You know, I always say, borrow money from a pessimist because he already thinks he's not going to get it back. So from my point of view, if you're going to give abundantly, but never ever shortchange your family. That's why we say blood is thicker than water. So as you grow older, your mom, your dad, become older trees in your orchard. And once they're gone, it's funny how you want to then go look for the shade. A good society, Anwar, is where the older men in that community plant trees knowing they will never sit under the shade of that tree, but still plant them.
And I know I asked this before, but like, are you an activist, a politician, or a rapper? Because jy slaat net baas hier, jong.
Nee, ek is gewis. Dit laat my sis and it gives me bliss. Mic drop. Who's it? Daar's hy. You see, if you're not a rapper, you become a scrapper. Then you don't find your own map. You deserve a slap. Mic drop. At the end of the day, if you love, you can soar like a dove. But if you just look for fluff, you're going to get a muff. Luister gou vir my.
A muff must be very...
Ja, like a muff.
A muff.
Luister vir my. Luister vir my.
Nou, a muff.
Easy call. Be yourself. Be yourself. If you fake, people will know it.
Of course.
I can't change. I'm radical. I'm sporadic. Because that's who I am.
That's what
the original.
That's what attracted me to you, to be honest.
It's the original. You can't march down a road and ask that we actually promote South African business, but your t-shirt is made in China. What a lot of car.
Shout out to Landrose. Local.
Local is lekker. Say, I want to become and make a brand in this country.
Awareness.
Say.
Say.
Say. Can you imagine what t-shirt is that, Say?
I'll be your first customer.
No. J-Y.
Say.
Yeah, waar kry jy daai hoodie?
Say. You can take me out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of me. Why does it feel like we are being divided as a nation? What do you think the angle is for this evil that's actually creating these divisions amongst South Africans?
I don't feel that way, I know it. It's fact.
Why are we being
fact.
divided?
Because it serves a purpose. It serves a purpose because, let me quickly tell you, Anwar, for a successful motion of a grouping of people, you need two things. You need a common enemy and you need great propaganda. Sounds familiar?
Very familiar.
So when you take people and you say to people, white people are your enemy, black people are your enemy, Indian people, colored people, just saying that makes me cringe. Because as you know, I fought in the struggle against it. And someone said to me one day, he said, and that person is Ahmad Katran, said, a black person fighting for black liberty will be understood. But a white man that fights for black liberty will never be forgiven by his own. And that happened to me. There are still people that call me Farrier. Well, if you call me a Farrier, it means that you're a racist. Because why will you call a person that fought in the liberation struggle for people to have dignity, why would you call him a Farrier? Now, many times when people write to me, jy's a Farrier, I want to write back and say, en jy's a racist.
Of course.
But that was not why we fought for freedom, to blame people. Here's the one. Wil jy nog 'n call hê by my?
Let's go, boy.
You must never forget history, but you mustn't live in it.
That's gonna go down in the archives.
I'll say it again.
Say it again.
You must never forget your history, but you mustn't live it. And there, right there, we sit with a problem, and we can't move on.
As Neil de Beer, right? How would you solve that problem? The divisions that this evil is creating amongst us as people.
I'm doing it right now. I'm sitting with Anwar. I'm sitting with you. I'm sitting with Peter. I'm sitting with Sipo. I'm sitting with Inkos, and I'm saying, Molweni, Awe.
Salute.
And I'm saying to them, if I can, so can you. One of the greatest things that as a human being we find as a problem. We can't do it naturally. Do you know what that is?
What is that?
Forgiveness. Forgiveness to your parents, forgiveness to your society. But here's the thing that I find the most difficult. Forgiving myself. Forgiving myself. If you can't forgive yourself for the things that you know you did wrong, how do you forgive society?
How do you move forward?
You know, one of the great guys, Snoop Dogg, was Snoop. I'll never forget when Snoop Dogg.
Shout out to Snoop.
Snoop, when he got Zay, I'm going to send him a cap. Zay, Anwar, we're going to start that brand.
He's gonna see this though.
My man! So when Snoop got his Hollywood star, he did that unbelievable speech where he said to everybody, I want to thank my producer, I want to thank my wife, and then you know what he said? But most of all, I want to thank me.
Yeah.
I want to thank me for getting up in the morning.
Come on.
I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for keeping it together. I want to thank me for my success. I want to thank me for the things that I did. Thank you, man.
Affirmation.
Yeah, thank yourself. No matter who you are, thank me. And one more thing, thank God.
Always.
Thank God. That's why when I say South Africa first, but God number one. This is the principles of my life.
Is that the solution to like the problem that we currently also have as us being divided as a country, as putting God in the center of it all?
Yeah, we left him. We left God. God stood there and we walked away. One thing about God, he'll never go away. Now, no matter what you call God, Allah, God Almighty, the Hindu faith, the Jewish faith, I'm going to give you a lecture now. Umkhabulu, quickly.
Umkhabulu.
Umkhabulu means sharing of information. If you are a Jew, you cannot be lost. You have the Torah. If you're a Muslim, you cannot be lost. You have the Almighty Quran. If you are a Christian, you cannot be lost. You have the Bible. And as a South African, you can't be lost because you have the Constitution. There's no excuse. We have these fundamental books of wisdom, yet we try to outman faith. And once you think you can be faith, you've lost your belief. This country must go back to God. And once we have light, it will outshine darkness like you have never seen before. And that's what I'm fighting for, is light.
I see the light in your eyes.
Sure,
oh,
it
man.
glistens. It's actually dangerous how in the light I am. And it didn't come because of me. It came because I nearly died. Life was taken from me through cancer. I never thought I'll see the light of day again. In actual fact, I died.
But you're still fighting.
Every day. I had a choice, Anwar. After coming out of 5 months of hospital, 97 days ICU, and the doctor telling me, medically there is no more hope. Now you pray. And I did. But I remember last year when I was lying in that bed and life was going. Calmness came. Because I made my total relationship up with God. I've got kids, man. I'm now a granddad. Ja, ek het dan elke ding al in die lewe gedoen. Dark and light. I've lived a life, man. I've had cars, I've had houses, and I've had women. I've had booze, I've had watches, I've had clubs. I've been a bouncer and a smouser. I've been a gangster and a rapper. But there's one thing now that I will exchange all of that. Is my grandson. It's just my grandson. Because you know why? You can't talk of life if you've not lived life.
Correct.
You can't understand wealth if you've not been poor. You can't talk about good if you've not been bad. You can't talk about richness if you've never been bankrupt. You cannot talk about being happy if you've not been sad. And you cannot talk about life if you've not been dead. Amen. Inshallah.
How do you even continue after that? That's like the showstopper right there. So keep the questions coming through, guys. We will get into it, and you will have your chance to actually ask Neil a couple of questions. But you know, me growing up, I wanted to be many things. I wanted to be a soccer star. Firstly, I love football. Can you say this for me? Chelsea is the best soccer team in the world.
Undoubtedly, Manchester beats them.
Now we got a problem. But yeah, like, wait, really? Legit? Okay, I don't want to get into football right now. But like,
I was never allowed to play soccer.
But you played rugby though, ne?
If I'm playing goalie, at that stage I used to occupy a goal. Like they never allowed me to play cricket. Nee, ek was al 2 keer my size, hoor. What you see now is half of me. They never allowed me to play cricket because they said they couldn't see the wickets. So I became a prop forward in
prop forward.
That's it.
And you excelled in it, by the way.
Massively, because a prop forward only does 3 things.
You're world champion?
Hy druk, hy neuk en hy gaan voor.
En hy gaan voor. You were world champion?
Yeah. Well, I was part of the 2005 under 21 rugby World Cup team as part of the management, and we won a World Cup in Argentina.
How was that feeling though?
Unbelievable. And can I tell you a secret? First time breaking news. Breaking news on your program. I was standing at the final in a little town called Mendoza. In the north of Argentina, in a place called Stadion Malvinas. 60,000 people. World Cup final. Springboks against Australia. And I stood next to that and I saw this, and we were 36 young men facing the world. We beat the All Blacks the previous week.
For the record, under 21.
Under 21 rugby, yeah. Springboks. And I stood next to that field and I prayed. And here's something I've never told anybody. Because I did so much bad in my life, because I really followed a bad path at once, I was thinking that God was going to make this team lose. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I was standing in the tunnel looking at, and I said to God, don't do this to them because of me. Please, I'm asking you, let them win because of them. That was the prayer. I was so guilty.
None of them know this.
No, it's the first time I'm telling you. And I went out on the field, standing next to the field, because my job on the game day was to take the water and the kicking tea to Morneystein and Ruan Pinar. That were my fly-offs. 1 minute. That clock's going, eh? You can see it. 1 minute left. The opposing team, Australia, could not kick for post. They had to score a try because they were 7 behind. So I knew they are not going to kill the ball or kick for penalty. They have to score a try to win the World Cup. And then they got the ball in the last minute. Anwar, there was a digital clock going 59, 58, and I started to shake. And I said, I told you, God, this team must win, despite me. And Australia got the ball on the 5-meter line, pushing forward, moving, suppressing us, because they had to score a try. And time after time, they were hitting the ball down, picking it up, going around. And everything went in slow motion. And I saw the clock go 15, 14 seconds. And Australia peeled around the scrum, and the guy passed to the right. He thought his wing was there, and he wasn't. So he passed the ball out the outline, World Cup. And I went on my knee there, and I said to God, Shukran, thank you.
I've won.
World Cup. And that makes me always look at anybody and anything. If you can win a bloody World Cup, you can change a country. And that's a fact. Why? Hope.
That's actually what I told someone last night. He just came out of jail and he was looking for a job, and I told him there's no vacancies here. And I told him if you can sell drugs, you can sell anything else.
Amen.
Literally, bro. Because I was upset with him because he was like making it my problem. I told him you can't make this my problem, right? If
But
you
we're
can
a beaten society, Anwar. So the message is, if you're a cleaner, if you're a waiter, if you're a farmer, if you're a mechanic, if you're a drifter, if you are a builder, be the best one that you can be. I always say when I speak about gangsters or I speak about crime, people say, why do you get this look in your eye? One of contempt, but maybe sometimes one of compassion. And I go, yeah, everybody in life is a minute away from jail. Everybody. You go to a bar, you drink one too many, jail. You stop at a traffic light and a guy hits you, jail. So when you see people fall on their face, don't laugh.
Of course.
Because tomorrow you fall on your own.
Correct.
I always wonder, why do we call it Department of Correctional Services when we correct nearly zero? You see, incarceration, when you go to submit yourself for pain for the things you've done wrong, should not be for life. This is not God's word. Our problem is the system, Anwar. Gangsterism, some because of dark and some because of no choice. It's a broken home. It's a broken society. It's a fatherless home. It is joblessness. It is poverty. It's not an excuse. It's desperation. So when I talk about fighting gangsterism, I'm not talking just about locking up gangsters. I'm talking about giving them an alternative.
Of course.
Now, what alternative do you give a man who's just served time in jail, served his time in jail, but carries that mark for the rest of his life? Is this Christianity? Is that forgiveness? No, sir. We must change society. And that's what Mandela said. If you want to change society, change yourself first. And we're not getting it right.
I need you to hold on to that right there. Gangsterism, it's a pressing issue currently in our community.
Yes.
But before we get there, like, as a kid growing up, what did you always want to do? Besides, like, I'm sure you didn't want to be like a politician.
I wanted to be a policeman.
Policeman.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah. Justice. Don't like a bully. Always hated a bully.
Were you bullied?
No. I mourn bullies. I don't like a bully. Be it a bully in society, a bully in neighborhood, a bully in your school, a bully in your community, a bully as a politician. I don't like a bully. In other words, I don't like the downtrodden, the voiceless. And that's why I must tell you, you can see I love what I do because I don't like a bully. Our country is being bullied. You know, just think to yourself, ons is 'n gemoer society, man. Hulle moer ons Anwar. If it's not COVID, it's Eskom. If it's not load shedding, it's looting. If it's not looting, it's the Zondo Commission. Hulle vat ons vir 'n pop.
Right in front of our eyes.
In front of us.
And there's nothing we can do.
No, we can. That's the point.
But
We can do something about this.
so that gets real
Awareness.
deep. It gets real deep.
It's awareness. The power of this country does not lie in government. We are government.
Lies in the people.
Yeah, quickly. Ishiko. There's nothing like a government project. It's our money. It's a people's project. The fact that government tells you it's theirs. Tsak, Jai. Tsak. It's not their money. It's our money. So when government takes my tax and government takes my money, it is the custodian of those funds. Now quickly, what I've just said to you, that changes the debate, doesn't it?
It does.
It's your money. So when they steal, when they loot, when they do corruption, There's nothing like corruption, Anwar. It's theft. Just stop. I mean, and then when people get upset, they have the right to. Because you might not pay tax on your income. But when you buy a bread,
Pay tax.
you pay tax, my brother.
Yeah, like I was speaking earlier, like I always thought it's just going to be putting burgers together.
Sure.
Being an entrepreneur, no, it's not.
No,
because now I'm in the tax game and it's a whole different world
It's an economy.
as a business.
It's an economy. And if you pay for it, I think you look after it.
Of course.
You know, we should stop building shopping malls in Mitchell's Plain. Did you hear what I said?
We should stop building
Shopping malls in Mitchell's Plain.
Why is that?
We should build community malls.
For the people.
It must be theirs.
For the people.
Because if it is theirs, if they know that that mall is owned by the community and the profits from that mall goes into a trust and sends people to university.
It empowers the people.
Gaan pie jy teen daai muur, my broer. En jy weet dis joune. How would you feel if you walk out your house and there's a guy peeing against your Bible creep? Hy word gemoer.
Hy sal.
Want dis joune. But if it's not your house, then you say it's not my circus, it's not my clowns. But if it's your Auntie Gabiba's house, jy gaan ook uitkom en hom moer.
Of course.
It's that ownership, it's that feeling that we own. So you cannot go and continually build businesses and those businesses do not plow back in your society. Now you call me a communist. No, I'm calling it ownership. And that's where I differ with a Malema. That's where I differ with the ANC. A socialist communistic regime removes private equity and private ownership from the individual. In other words, no more entrepreneurs. They want a national state. You cannot have that, Anwar. Ownership gives pride. Pride gives dignity. Dignity gives life.
Well, we saw that with all the state-owned like companies.
Sure. Sure.
All crumbled before our eyes.
Sure. Looted. If you're a pig farmer.
Shout out to the pig farmers.
Boss. Pigs eat from a trough. Have you seen a pig eat?
No.
He eats like he doesn't know tomorrow he gets again. That's politicians for you. Hulle vreet. Maar hulle is so dik gevreet, né? They forget that tomorrow comes again. That's hoekom hulle sê, jy vreet soos 'n vark. And once this country knows that we shouldn't be feeding pigs, but create rather a biryani for the people, that's when we have a better society.
That's why we're going to braai on the day.
Yes, we're going to braai. And we're going to give it out. You know, there's a word called Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
And there's another one. It's called Masakane. Ubuntu is giving, and Masakane is nation building. Ons gebruik woorde, man. We use words so easy. You know, someone said to me, are we in this country starting to get racial politics again?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Freedom Front White. Julius, the nationalistic ideology. The ANC, the communistic verb.
BEE.
This is our problem. So my answer to BEE, very clearly, check.
Check. It actually brings me to my next question. Police, okay, cool. So you achieved that because you were on the front line. But why politics though?
You know, I'm going to tell you something. Easy call. Politics is not what you think it is. We made politics bad. Many years ago, being a politician was noble. If you were elected by the people, you were a person that was respected. It was noble to be a politician. But like everything, Anwar, they changed it. Someone said to me, what's my opinion about AI? Do I have opinion about artificial intelligence? I said, yes.
Of course.
I fear it.
Oh. Oh,
I fear
really?
it.
Okay.
So a guy said, why? I said, they didn't just split the atom. They built a bomb. Human beings will take anything that was created for good and make it bad. The internet. Oh yes, it's a good tool. But the dark side?
Oh, there's many dark sides.
The dark side? AI is the same. Politics is the same. We mutated politics into something bad. And you know what is one of the biggest enemies of this country? It's a singular word. Generalization. Every white man is a racist. Every black man is a thief.
Every colored
is a gangster. And every Indian is a good businessman. You are wrong. This is not true. Not every policeman out there is corrupt. So we generalize. This guy, I'm not a good politician. You know why? I call it like it is. And like I speak here today, I speak in Germany. Ich verstehe das. Ich sprechen Sie Deutsch. Ich kommunikative, ich arbeite umsonst. Ich verstehe das Leben. So in other words, I can go to any country in the world and I can tear it up. And that makes me different.
I love that. How many languages, by the way?
I'm comfortable in 7 plus the 1.
Kak praat.
Kak. So you know, I'm me. I'm Neil.
I love this. I love this, man.
I'm a normal
this
guy.
Is the real Neil.
And can I tell you, there's one thing I've got that very few people have in politics is compassion. I have a lot of care.
And fashion, huh?
I'm stylish.
Yeah, man.
Trek my deure and me.
Hide your grannies. He's here. Neil, did you ever consider joining a known party before you founded the United Independent Movement?
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Can you name drop that party and why?
Remember, I come from the ANC.
Okay.
I come from the ANC. 32 years.
Okay.
I was a member of MK.
Nelson Mandela's
88 in the youth. I had prolific mentors. Andre Lincoln, Jeremy Vieri.
Mm-hmm.
These were my mentors. Nelson Mandela, obviously an icon.
Of course.
But I want to quickly tell you what was the difference between that man and normal politicians. He was a statesman.
Are you referring to Nelson?
Sure. I've got various icons. One of mine is Churchill. Churchill was a statesman, but brutal. This country is at domestic war. I'll say it again. South Africa is in a state of domestic warfare.
Okay.
72 people a day die. This is more
Facts.
than in Sarajevo.
Facts.
This is more currently than Ukraine. Imagine, people die in this country more than in a current normal world war. What is it then?
Mm-hmm.
The guns we use on the flats are no longer pistols and shotguns. It's automatic weapons. Where do you use an AK?
In war, isn't it?
In war. So this country must wake up. Becky, Tafeltjie, Stoeltjie, Tsele must get it right now. You are not liked. You are not wanted. You must move on. Not because you're a bad man, but you have lost control. There is no solution. We need new leadership. I want to quickly tell you, you must stop playing the man and we must actually play the game. I don't hate. I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I hate what you say.
You just spit in facts. You're just giving the truth.
Dis die waarheid.
And it comes across as
Sure.
hate.
Sure, but it's not. You know, a guy from the EFF walked up to me one day and he actually forced himself to sit down and he said to me, "Why do you hate us so much?" I said, "Then you don't know my history. I fought that you can sit here."
Oh.
I said, "But let me quickly tell you." And I told him it. And you know what? He turned around and he said, "Can I tell you something?" I said, yeah. He said, be careful that you don't hate a man so much, you forget to listen to what he's saying. Wow. Wisdom. So I don't hate.
Headline.
I listen.
I'm going to edit this, right? And I'm going to put that as a headline.
Don't hate a man.
Goddamn.
Listen to the voice.
United Independent Movement.
Yes.
Why this name?
We need unity. We need unity in this country. You know, in the Bible it says, where there is no unity, God will give no blessing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a script. So we need to be united. But we need to be independent in thought. We cannot stifle ideology. Because everybody has a dream. But some just live in a nightmare. So I actually started a political party in a garage. It then became a movement. And then they told us we've got to go to Parliament. I had 2 months and 7 days, 300,000 rand. That's it.
Your own money?
That's it.
Oh my.
And we went to war. We took part in a national municipal election. Out of 279 municipalities, I could only contest 23. And you know what was the result? I didn't sleep that night, we counted. And the next day, we won seats in 3 metro municipalities, not small municipalities. God's work went ahead. We got 3. Cape Town, Joburg, Durban. Now can you imagine?
Metros, eh?
Can you imagine?
That's the economies in South Africa.
So we got voted. We got voted in other words, someone liked my cream soda, man. Someone liked my burger.
You were sitting here. You really made an impact. I must give you your rose. You, Neil, you really made an impact.
Thank you.
And I just want you to continue and keep doing what you are doing because it's genuine. You know, you don't get people like you anymore. Like
I think we do. You're one of them. You are going there. You just need a bit of grey. Gandalf the Grey.
Still young. How old do you think I am, by the way? Before you
I
continue?
think you are under 30.
Under 30? Yes,
I think
I am.
you're in your mid
27.
27. Wow. If you are currently who you are like this, imagine 10 years. You know, someone said to me the other day, why do you love, follow, walk with a guy like Fadil Adams? CCC.
Shout out to Fadil. I know you're watching.
Fadil. We are so different.
You and Fadil, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. We are chalk and cheese, yin and yang, fish and chips. But you know what? Look into Fadil's eyes. Look into his soul. He's a great man. So people argue delivery. Yeah. But he's still young. I don't look at what he's doing. I'm looking at where he's going.
Of course.
We are so quick to judge. We are so quick to say, but he's not this or he's not that. You are wrong. A diamond started its life cycle as coal. Swart, stoffierende steenkool. And because of massive pressure, it turns into kimberlite. And kimberlite is diamonds. Here's a question. So a diamond lies in the Namib desert,
Okay.
covered by sand and storm. No one finds it. Does it not still remain a diamond?
Of course it does.
So that's the point. We have so many diamonds in the rough. They're lying all over Mitchell's Plain, Bella, Delft, Rof, soos Moer. But still a diamond. It's time that we take our people and polish them up. This country's greatest wealth is not its minerals.
It's our people.
It's its people. And once our people go back to hope, one day they will know that they were the potential. But we are suffering, Anwar.
Yeah, we are.
We are an abused nation.
We are. Look, I lost my brother to gangsterism. He was stabbed to death in a Noble Park a couple of years back. I lost my best friend, which is my sister. She's not dead, but I lost her to drugs. She's literally staying in the bush. Her two kids are here,
It's
and
real.
they are so beautiful.
It's real.
They are so intelligent.
Sure.
She was my best friend growing up. You know, Neil. What small measures can you put in place to at least prevent gangsterism from taking place within our communities?
I can do one thing very few people can do. I can bring global investment into Mitchell's Plain. I can bring massive investment into the Cape Flats. Now hear me well. Why is it not happening today?
I have a theory though on that. Why is it not happening?
Yeah,
There needs to be crime
sure. Why would you fix something
for certain
that works?
corrupt officials to still survive.
Yes, but we're allowing it. We will allow it.
Because we're afraid.
And let me quickly tell you, do you know what is my barometer to see how hurtful people are just in this community? Can I tell it to you? Can I say it?
Of course.
Bhagat,
Chivos.
they back.
Yeah.
No,
They're making
They're back.
they're making waves, eh?
but they've not been around. They now. Do you agree with me?
Hmm.
When you see frustration, when you see civil hate, when you see a helpless country, a helpless community, it allows, therefore, that civil society starts a revolution.
Hmm.
There's only two ways that you can sort it out. People will rise and take the law into their own hands, or you deal with it. There can be no fire without oxygen. If you take out oxygen, fire dies. Fire needs oxygen.
Literally happened now, not too long ago.
So if you go and get involved by taking out the oxygen in crime, it cannot exist.
So what is the oxygen?
We cannot police our way out of this crime. Police is not the answer. It's not. Trust me, I come from understanding crime. The solution to crime is based on only two things.
Which is?
One, create jobs, fix civil society,
Poverty.
and create an economy that people are busy, not with murder, but busy with creating work. And number two, if the community don't rise and sort its own crime, it will never work.
Auntie must stop hiding the child in the house and saying that the
Clar.
child is not involved.
Clar.
Auntie must really now just start to stand up and say that, yes, my kid
So
is
I
part of
am
the
a
problem.
proponent of community policing,
I see you.
and I am a proponent
I see you.
of giving, because can I tell you what people don't understand? Work brings dignity. Werk bring brood. Brood bring vleis. Vleis bring kos. Kos maak jou voel. Jy's 'n mens. When you stand in a queue and you wait for a Tupperware to fill it with a bucket of soup from a soup kitchen, that's not dignity for our people. 30 years later, in this damn called democracy, we failed. Ons is murtu.
Yeah, we are.
And the way you fix murtu is admit you are murtu. The only way to get out of alcoholism is to accept you're an alcoholic.
Of course.
The same with drugs, the same with gangsters, the same with the community. We are currently murtu. How do we fix it? We unite, we stand together, we talk to each other, we love each other, and then we go and we fix society. If we bring investment to the flats, the people will be saved. Because an honest day's work is actually what everybody wants.
A united independent movement.
Yes, you cannot do it through politics. You do it through people. Next year, 1994, we voted to change a country. 2024, we will vote to save
A country.
a country.
Wow. If you were just a regular guy, not the president of the United Independent Movement, right? Who would you vote for? Come 2024.
God.
Who do you? And I understand. I love that. But
Choose
like,
well.
if you could choose a party and
Yeah.
just someone that stands out to you right now, who would that be? Who do you really see can actually make a change in this country besides yourself? No one.
The ANC is going to fight for this. They've become hyenas. Have you seen a group of hyenas on a carcass of a springbok?
I have.
They don't want to let it go.
Correct.
Kom ek jy praat gou waarheid.
Even lions.
Let's talk the truth,
Okay,
Anwar.
let's go.
They won't surrender.
The ANC now.
They won't surrender.
The ANC won't surrender.
No, they
Okay.
won't surrender. You know, I've always asked people, don't ask if the ANC wins the election. Rather ask if they don't, will they give it up? I'm not saying they won't. I'm not saying that we don't have hope in democracy. But I told you something about 10 minutes ago. I asked you a question, your eyes went big, off camera. What if Putin, Vladimir Vladimirovich,
That's correct.
what if he's right? You see, an intellectual doesn't just accept. You know, when you say, listen here, this is the best burger I've had in my life. The first question I ask is, how many burgers have you had so that you can declare this the best burger?
Of course.
I didn't join any political party because I saw no one who speaks on behalf of the people. I had a wide choice, 325 parties. Here's the future. I don't know what is Friday's lotto. 11, 12, 62, 43, and 12 is the bonus ball. What a lot of cuck. I can't tell you that, otherwise I would be entering lotto. But what I can tell you is that if we don't change the trajectory of this country next year, we will go into a dark time. Lion King, the movie. How did they not destroy the Pride Lands? Mufasa, say it again.
Mufasa.
Say it again. Say it again.
Mufasa.
So we are in the Mufasa time. So we are a light. We are a unique people. You know, I went overseas and I missed Cape Town. You know what I missed about Cape Town? Is when you get and a guy comes to you and says to you, who's that? And you say vir hom, luister, wat vry vis? En hy sê vir hom, ek vra hom niks. Hy's dood, wil jy vir hom iets vra? When a guy comes to you and he says, meneer, koop hierdie perskas man. En dan sê vir hom, nee, ek wil die perskas hê nie. Hy sê, maar meneer, hulle is dan absoluut, so soet. Dan sê vir hom, hoe weet jy hulle soet? Hy sê, ek hoes te lê hulle.
You know,
This
you
is
know,
me, man.
you a really smart guy. I like how you just divide and conquered my question. You didn't answer me, alright?
Yeah.
So brings me to my next question. Does Julius Malema of the EFF stand a chance to be president of South Africa come 2024?
No. 90,000 people in a stadium doesn't bring people to a ballot box. It just gives you free lunch. So this is my point. Isn't it weird that the EFF is 10 years old but runs no municipality? 10 years
that a fact?
old. Oh, it's a fact.
Oh.
10 years old. They don't govern. They don't govern municipal. They don't govern provincial. And they don't govern national. That's weird. That's a statistic. But what we mustn't do is not heed what he is doing. I mean, really, Anwar, this man has a following. There are people coming.
We saw it.
No.
We saw
Yeah,
it
yeah.
now the other day.
Yeah. You know, someone said to me, always give credit where credit is due.
What really stood out to me is not even football teams soccer teams in South Africa
No.
can fill up stadiums like that.
But there was someone else that did that. Hitler. Flags, red, screaming.
So you technically saying Julius Malema is running a dictatorship?
Absolutely. I mean, is there anybody that doubts that? But you know, he's not new. This is history. Benedetto Mussolini, Al Duce.
It happened before and it can happen again.
This is what happens if you give someone an enemy, if you give someone propaganda, if you give someone fuel for fire, and you spin it as rhetoric. People come. People come. Eugene ter Blanche did this. This is not a political party. This is a cult. This is a movement of a person that wields it. Now, give credit where credit is due.
You're referring to FF?
Yeah, no, I'm referring to Julius Malema. This man has come into our country and he has intimidated our mind. He has done so. And if you say he hasn't, then you are in La La Land.
Of course.
When this man speaks, the world stops. When this man says, I'm going to shut down the country, on the day of the shutdown, he couldn't shut down the Wimpy. But 2 weeks prior to the shutdown, he intimidated us. He was on every newspaper. I wish I had such a rhetoric and such a fundamental movement behind me. Where the man, you know, the other day I was driving and I saw 3 guys in red and I saw them. And when I drove past them, I saw they work for ShopRite. So anything red makes you go mad these days, except a Ferrari. Because you think to yourself, bloody EFF. That's how he's come into our mind. So he's not captured politics. He's not captured society.
He's driving propaganda and fear into the people.
He's
and the
captured
people.
our mind.
And that's what I think. His play is fear. And
Sure.
and that's what he has driven into the people that is following him.
Sure.
And
That
that's
word.
why they're standing behind him, because he makes it feel to them, it's my opinion, that what happened in the past can happen again. So he can change it. Apartheid now,
Sure.
obviously.
Sure. Fear.
Fear. I saw your live of the whole Kill the Boer video. You had more time to think about it.
Yes.
What's your take on him chanting, kill the Boer, kill the farmer? Like, what's your take on that?
I've had 35 years to think about it. So let's be honest, because I like it. Kill the Boer. Okay? When we were fighting the Boer, remember I'm a Boer. Okay? I am a Boer.
Look like a Swiss chocolate.
No, sure. Toblerone with a lot of heels. And I say, etter om te eet. But listen to me. I'm a Boer. So when you say kill the Boer, you're referring not to the act of farmer. You're talking about the nation.
Of course.
Kill the colored. Kill the Indian. This is the same. Now in history in this country, when we were at war, if you said kill the Boer, and you sang it. Yeah, okay, it's part of a political ideology, it's a historic song, this was your enemy. You don't agree with it, but you can understand it. But not the rest of the song. And that's my problem. Kill the farmer. Now, you cannot allow that. To tell a person, kill a farmer, and then you go, brr, pa. I have a fundamental problem with someone in this country saying kill a farmer because you are killing food. And Anwar, it's not like they are not being killed at the moment. So I'm sorry. I am not drawing a correlation that it is EFF people killing farmers. There's no hard evidence. And that is all you need to go to court. So I'm not saying that. I have none. But what I know is in a just society, in a society that's tired of war, that is tired of crime, that is tired of violence, how can you sing a song where in actual fact the day that he was singing that song, another 2 farmers were mutilated, tortured and murdered. Now I don't care about your politics. It's not just white farmers in this country. They are farmers. And when you murder a farmer, you are murdering food. Milk does not come from Checkers. It comes from a bloody cow.
Disclaimer.
So when you sit there and you are singing, kill the farmer. What's next? Kill the Christian. Kill the Muslim. Is this next?
Kill the country.
Yes. So I'm sorry. You cannot ask me as a person that wants the opposite to allow it. He got what he wanted, Anwar. He got 80,000 people in a stadium. He had a successful scenario to him. But he went and stuffed it up by allowing that song. And I'm telling Julius Malema, Mamela Julie, I've met you. I know you. This is beneath you.
Should he go to jail for what he's doing?
No. Because we have that right and liberty of freedom of speech. But we don't have the freedom of hate. A court in this country, Anwar, found that that song is not hate speech because of freedom of speech. Okay, no problem. Then I'll start singing Kill the EFF. This is wrong. This is not intellectual, man. So I don't mind your politicking, your national drive of nationalization and socialism. Go on, because you are protected. But come now, man. That, in this society, is not good leadership. But you know what? That's his angle, and that's his vote. And if he doesn't do that, he doesn't get bums on seats. And that's wrong.
That's powerful. That is really, really powerful. I heard you were on Nelson Mandela's, what was it, former security advisor.
I was part of a team.
Oh, part
the
of a
book
team.
is out. It's called Undercover with Mandela Spies.
And you were with him physically.
We were with the teams.
With the team. Were you physically with him
Physically
at the
met
point?
him many times.
Many times.
And winning.
How was he as a person? Like short and sweet. How was Nelson Mandela really as a person?
Disciplined. Discipline.
Not to the world, but to what you saw
discipline.
when you were with him. Discipline.
I mean, people that were so close, that were really close, like Andre Lincoln, that was part of these details. Jeremy Beery, that protected him. We were the newer generation behind them. They always said that one thing about him: discipline.
I love that. And you look up to him, eh?
I always will. I did not always agree. I did not always understand. But when you look at our leaders of the past, what quality? You know, the people think that F.W. de Klerk was the person that started that reform. It's not true. It was actually P.W. Botha.
Okay.
Ja. P.W. Botha, die groot krokodil, in actual fact was the first person to reach out to Mandela. He had the first meeting. And the problem was...
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a fact. He asked Mandela to lie down the armed struggle.
That's interesting.
And he said to Mandela, if you immediately declared the armed struggle over, then I, as P.W. Botha, will release you and will start negotiations. And Mandela looked at him and in his verse said, no, we will fight. And that's why P.V. Botha never was the man that released Mandela.
Interesting.
You will then remember P.V. Botha got a stroke.
Correct.
Some people said a stroke of luck. And then F.W. de Klerk took over and removed the condition of abandoning the armed struggle. This is a fact. This is true. And then the negotiations started. And what people must remember, Anwar, history doesn't lie. There was a referendum. Funny enough, whites only, in 1991.
Interesting.
There was a national referendum that was called by the National Party and F.W. de Klerk, and he asked the white people, because funny enough, only whites could vote in that referendum, and he asked the country, do we continue with apartheid, or do we open society? 65% of people that voted in that whites-only referendum in 1991 said, release that man and let us open a new beginning. I want that to be marked, because those things cannot be lost in history.
Of course.
But remember, the rest didn't.
I like what you said there. It's quite insightful. Like it's a different perspective, you know.
Sure.
It actually brings me to my next question. So recently, actually 4 days ago, the video's on almost 50k views now, bear in mind. A member of the Cape Coloured Congress, can't get to his name. I won't just guess a name, but that video is definitely out there. He called Nelson Mandela a sellout.
Sure.
He sold the country to white people.
Sure.
What's your take on that?
The ANC got democracy by surprise. Ooh. Did you hear that?
It's like surprise.
Yeah. We got freedom by surprise. We never thought that this national party, that this apartheid government would surrender. Boere gee nie op nie. Ken jy 'n boer? Ken jy daai ou? They never surrender. I mean, this person took oxen and a wagon and went over the Drakensberg met biltong koffie and a sweep. These people don't give up. They took arid land and made it farms. It's a nation that don't surrender. They fight. So that was probably the ideology that the ANC, whom already fought for 100 years since 1912 for freedom, they thought they'll fight another 100 years. But immediately, suddenly, Mandela got relieved. He was let out. The ANC unbanned. UnCooked was Sizwe unbanned. And we go to Kodesa. Listen, some of the leaders of the ANC didn't have suits. They had to go buy them suits. That's how quick it happened. And once the National Party decided that they are going to surrender power, they decided. And it happened so quick. I know it happened so quick. Kodesa happened quick. The negotiations happened quick. Freedom came. And then the elections. This all happened in a matter of a year. So when you tell me that the African National Congress were ready to govern, no, they weren't. They came out of the bush. They came out of prison. They came out of exile. They were never trained to take up a state that was running for 80 to 100 years. So I don't think he was a sellout. I think he negotiated what he had. And I'm not coming up with him.
At that time.
And it was little. Sure. I mean, Anwar, when you got a group of people that have been running an organization for 80 years, call it 80, and they come to the table and negotiate with people that have never run a government for 80 years, who do you think is going to win? No, it's obvious. The odds are stacked. So when people say bad negotiation, we didn't get this, we didn't get that, agreed. But at that time, at that moment in 93, 94, we had what we had. The ANC is an unbelievable liberator, but a tremendously cock government. So here's the call. We have a beautiful country. We just have bad management.
True. It actually brings me to my...
Sorry, when you drive a Honda Civic...
I don't drive Honda.
No, I'm saying when you drive a drop Honda Civic...
I don't like
and
Honda.
The guy drives bad. Is it the car or the driver?
The driver.
Amen.
I don't like Hondas. But anyway, my penultimate question, like, what potential do you see South Africa has as a whole? What potential do you see in South Africa?
We're a car that's got a 16 valve potential. We're on 8. We are on half power. There was a time, Anwar, that this country was a leader, where our passport was so much valued in the world. There was a time that South Africa was the leading economy on this continent.
Correct.
And 30 years later.
Facts.
Now, you've got to separate apartheid, the hate, from reality. Here's a call. In 94, when we took over this country, weren't we one of the leading economies on the continent?
We were.
I'm not talking race, eh?
No.
So don't call me a racist now when I'm talking about infrastructure.
Facts.
We had the best infrastructure. We had Denel, the leading weapons company in the world. We had SIA. We had railroads. We had airports. We had harbors. We had an economy where at one stage, I don't know if you know it, the dollar was weaker than the rand, where it was $1 for 1 rand. It's now 20.
19 something.
We have potholes.
A lot of them.
We have load shedding. We had Eskom on a rand note. So popular was Eskom. It was the world leading supplier of energy. Ons is moer toe. What caused it? I'll tell you what it is. There was no planning, there was no care, there was no maintenance, and there was no skill. We so quickly wanted to remove white and put in black, which was understandable. But what you don't understand is you are removing IP. A man that worked for 30 years in Eskom, worked there and became a specialist, not a white man, a professional. But we were in such, I was part of it, Anwar. The change, the removing and replacing, transformation, BEE. And now, where's BEE now? Well, I've got the opposition to BEE. It's NEE, National Economic Empowerment.
That's beautiful. Neil, I got one more for you. Like, we literally got 2 minutes left. Management is stressing on me now.
We could go on for life.
I know. I love this. This is what podcasts are truly are made for. But the showstopper. Why should we, as a nation, as people, all of us standing here, why should we vote for Neil? Why should we vote for the United Independent Movement?
Because I'm a white black guy.
That's funny.
I'm a white black guy. I know white and I know black. I am black, yet born white. The reason you must vote for me is because I bloody care. But when I go to Germany, Europe and speak to the white, I am compassionate because I'm actually an African. This country doesn't need a black president. It doesn't need a white president. It doesn't need a colored president or an Indian president. This country needs a president with a backbone. This country needs a new leadership that loves all, but says it like it is. What I say here, I will say to Trump, I will say to Putin and any other bloody man, and I'll end by telling you why. I love my people. This country has the largest potential to once again lead but we've got to bring back textiles to the Cape. We've got to sell our own resources, not at a discount, and bring our own chickens on our farms instead of importing Brazilian chickens that has been pumped in the ass with water. It's time that this country recognizes that it's no more black and white, but unified as one. You know, our slogan is Tri Kara Treka. Funny, we use the eldest language in this country. And what does Tri Kara Treka mean? Unity in diversity.
Unity and diversity.
Wow. Yes, we diverse. When you take my hand, you will break my finger. Try this.
That's a big first, man.
So from here,
Yeah.
we must go here. And by the way, one more thing. When you do this, people see this as African. So here's the thing, just take one hand away. Can I show you?
Let's see.
Instead of aid, let's do trade. Pause. Boom.
I got music.
Ah.
Wow! What an amazing guy you are. Guys, sorry I didn't get to your questions. As you know, that alone was quite insightful, and hopefully all of you enjoyed it. South Africa, Cape Town, and the world indeed. This is UnCooked with Anwar Arendse, and we definitely cooked a whole 5-course meal here today. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you love the content, and please let me know who you'd like to see come on the show next. Until next time.
Shukran.
Have fun!
Say.